All right, guys, it's Sunday, 16th of November. So we're doing weekly analysis. So let's start off with some Forex pairs. So let's look at Euro US dollar. So I had marked this area, and I also mentioned in the last weekly analysis that I will not be taking this zone. So this was the weekly, if I'm not wrong, or it's the 4 hour level on top of level. Yeah, it was the 4 hour level on top of level, which I did not take. Again, if price comes up to this level, this is the 4 hour supply zone. Looks really nice as imbalance, very nice supply zone. If price does come back into this area, this looks like a nice shot for a quick maybe 1 to 2. And yeah, again, anybody who's trading challenges or if you want to clear your challenges, you can look for one is to one, and then you can take this trade. It's a nice trade, not a very great supply zone, but it is good. So this is something you can have in your watch list, and it's not a nice supply zone because it's not an original supply zone. This is a reaction. This supply zone is a reaction to this supply zone. So this is not a original supply zone. So any supply zone or any demand zone, any zone to work out, the probability of the zone to work out also depends on the freshness. So if the zone is really fresh, the chances of the zone working out is higher, and then the pending orders are also higher. So the idea is you're trying to make use of the pending orders in this area. So the idea here is we assume that there are a lot of pending orders in this supply zone. So that's the reason price comes back into this supply zone to get those pending orders. So that's the reason we were taking this supply zone. Now there is this supply zone, then there is this supply zone that price came in once. There was a nice drop. Now this is the fourth time price coming in. So there might be a lot less pending orders left. So that is one thing you need to keep in mind. So the zone has to be fresh in order for it to be a high quality supply zone. So for me, this is not a great level, but it is still a level. So it's still traded. So only thing you can control is your risk management. So yeah. Now moving on, GBP USD looks really nice to me. So that there are two levels here, level on top of level. If I look at the weekly time frame, this is the entire weekly. So when you look at the weekly time frame, the price has stayed sideways for quite some time. So price has been dropping, coming back up, dropping, coming back up, dropping, coming back up. So there could be a lot of maybe distribution which has happened here. Again, it's an idea. So I can't really pinpoint and tell this is an area where distribution has happened. But again, the candlesticks, you can look at the candlesticks and then just assume or have a theory that there is some kind of distribution here, which is good for us. So on the weekly time frame, this is what we see on the weekly time frame. We also see a nice supply zone. And on the daily time frame, of course, we have level on top of level. This zone looks nice, and then we have this zone as well. So which will you trade? So that's the big question you need to be asking. So will you trade this zone? Will you let go of this zone and only trade this zone? Then if you do that, then there are chances that price might just come into this zone and then drop down. You might miss the trade. If you trade this zone, there are chances that price might go higher, stop you out, and then trigger this level and then drop down. So there are these scenarios which could happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So what you can really do is what I'm going to do is, again, see, I've already marked here. So I'm going to wait for the price to come into this level. Again, challenge. If you are in a challenge, if you're trading a challenge, then you can definitely go aggressive, take this short, quick 1:1. If price reacts, you get out. If it doesn't, if it goes higher again, you can re-engage here So you need to understand that these levels, the probability of these levels just getting pierced through is very less. So there is a high chance that these levels will hold, at least give you a small retracement, even if there are, if the price doesn't just turn from here, there's a probability, there's a chance that price might give you a nice move. So you don't need a big move to be profitable. You just need a small move, small percentage of that big move. So you can make use of this. So is it a high quality A plus setup? I don't think so, but the trend is down. The trend is clearly down. If you see, the trend has shifted because this was the pivot and price has not broken this pivot, and then there is this demand zone sitting down here. So we might expect price to get to this demand zone. So we can definitely look to short. I am going to short here. So I don't know about what you guys will be doing. This is again your personal choice, what fits in your trading rules and whatever. So for me, this is a trade. So there is Euro USD, there is GBP USD. So there's something else I look at is I look at the futures. So if I look at the dollar has a nice demand zone here. So when you're trading Euro USD, there is also a dollar component, right? So dollar is the code currency when you're trading Euro US dollar. So the dollar also is very important. So if dollar is in demand, so you're trading Euro USD. So if dollar is in demand, then Euro is in supply. It's a very nice trade. So dollar has already tapped into this wider version of this demand zone. You can see this nice daily demand zone, but the preferred version starts here. So I'm gonna just wait and see how price drops into this demand zone on the futures, and then maybe decide. So what I want to do. So yeah, this is something I add. This gives me extra confidence because again, I need confidence. I want certainty, and I trade only high probability setups on my funded accounts and my personal accounts. So for me, I want high probability setups. Again, this GBP US dollar supply zone looks nice and also in line with the US dollar futures demand zone. So that is something you can maybe look at and then look to trade. So that's up to you guys. If you look at euro as well, euro has already tapped into the supply zone. Another reason why I want to take that supply zone is daily on the futures, there is a nice supply zone. So this is one reason you can look at these future charts. Future charts are more clear. So if you look at euro here, we just have a wick here and then we have a drop. So if I look at the futures, you have a nice rally base and then a drop. So this is a nice supply zone. So again, you can wait for the futures to come into the supply zone. You can look for any candlestick pattern, any reversal on the lower time frame. There are multiple things you can do. There are multiple things you can do once you get the bias correct, once you get the bias right. So first step is building a bias, and then the second step is looking for entries. So now I'm trying to build my bias, build my narrative, and then you can use any kind of entry. I mean, any kind of technical entry style to just get into the markets. So this is how these big players play. Again, doesn't matter if it's a double top, head and shoulder, whatever it is. So everything works, but it works because some parameters are packing them, maybe fundamental or whatever it is. So for me, this looks like a nice supply zone, and that's the reason I wanted to trade the Euro USD. Now, moving on again, we spoke about GBP USD. Looks nice in line with the dollar. And yeah, so these are the two trades I'm looking at. Again, if you're trading funded accounts, if you're trading challenge, you can easily take these trades. But if you're trading your personal account or a little bit conservative, then these trades might not be that great. So let's move on with NZD USD. So NZD USD, not that great. So there is this level here. And then there is this level here. So this is again a level on top of level scenario, which I do not want to trade. There is no clear zone. You can trade this zone, but again, this is a strong demand zone. Price is coming off from a very strong area. So might see a nice retracement. So there is level here, there is a level here. So let's see. I'm just gonna wait because again, you need to also understand the correlation and pick the best trades out of these whatever basket of trades you have. So for me, I would rather choose Euro USD and JP USD over NZD USD. Simple. Then USD JPY. Okay. So this was a trade on my funded account, sorry, challenge account, and I was stopped out. So unfortunate that I was stopped out on this trade. But so USD JPY, if I look at the higher picture, there is this weekly supply zone sitting here, nice supply zone. So price is not gonna just pierce through the supply zone, you know the drill. So keeping that in mind, and also on the daily time frame, we have a clear down uptrend. So keeping all that in mind, I wanted to take this rally rally. This I just wanted to trade this. Again, it was a challenge account, so you can go slightly aggressive and then make use of that. I just wanted 1:1. But again, I was stopped out and then price reversed. So this is where we are. So for now, I do not have anything in USD JPY because if I have to engage, if I have to take a trade, then this is the area where I want to engage or this demand zone. So I do not want to engage in any other demand zone for now. Maybe on the lower time frame, you might have some demand zones. This is already price is already tapped into this demand zone. This demand zone is a level on top of level. Again, this looks nice. I like this over anything else here. So yeah, so this is my take on USD JPY. You can do whatever you guys want to, but this is what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna trade this. Let's move on to US dollar Swiss franc. I have an order. Again, not an order. I have a trade running here. So a nice demand zone. Uh, so this was the refined uh, version. Again, I'm going to tell you why I took this trade. So US dollar, Swiss franc. So I come to the Swiss franc futures. I see a very nice supply zone. Again, on the daily time frame, Swiss franc looks nice. We had a nice breakout structure. We had nice imbalance. Even if I go to the weekly time frame, we had nice move to the downside, and then there was also a supply zone. So it's like a rally, base, and then a drop. So nice supply zone. And then of course I had to refine the supply zone. There was this level on top of level. And this is the area I was looking at, and I waited for price to get into this area. So I didn't place limit orders for this trade. I didn't place limit orders for this trade. So what I did was I waited for price to drop into that area, and this is where I entered. This is how I entered, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure, but definitely I didn't place limit orders. So I timed the markets when price came into the supply zone and I was seeing some reversal on the lower time frame. Again, all these things comes with experience, guys, experience, backtest, and you have to build your own system. So this is something I have built for myself. I can teach you this is what I do, but in the end, you have to resonate with it and you have to build something for yourself. So US dollar Swiss franc looks nice, very nice reversal candle. I just love these candles. I hope we get a nice move out and then maybe I can capture something more than 1:2, at least 1:3. If I get something like that, then it'll be a good month for me. So yeah, this is US dollar Swiss franc, nice trade. Uh, let's move to USD CAD. Okay, now USD CAD, I had a similar level Like the US dollar Swiss franc, nice level here. I was stopped out of this initial trade, but again, I tried to enter of this, but price has now dropped into this level. But I still have my orders. Let's see what happens. So for now, I just have this. I'm not gonna complicate things here. I'm just gonna leave this how it is. So let's see, because we've also tapped into this massive weekly supply zone in the wider version. So we just have to wait and see how price reacts here. Of course, it's gonna be choppy after tapping into this supply zone. It's not gonna just tumble from here. But yeah, so let's see how it reacts. So these are my trades for major. Okay, we missed out on AUD USD. So speaking about AUD USD, AUD USD, I was stopped out break even, or I think it was a small $40 loss. So I moved my stop loss above this pivot and then at this supply zone, and then I was stopped out. So, but the idea here is, so the idea here was we had this. Let me clean the chart. Let me remove all this so that you can see the chart clearly. So not a great trend. We were in an uptrend and then price was completely choppy. All I mean, this here is garbage. This here is garbage, and then we saw nice trend to the upside, which did not hold, and then price started tumbling down, and then that's when we were looking to short. First, I got engaged somewhere here, and then I shorted it. I was in profits, uh, and then price reversed back, and I was stopped out slightly more than break even. Then there was another supply zone. First, initially, I think I did something like this. If I'm not wrong, this was the level on top of level. I or okay, hold on. Yeah, this was the trade. Initially, this was the trade. Something like this. I had my stop loss above. And price tapped into this and then dropped down, gave me roughly around 1 is to 1.2 or 3, and then started reversing, came back into that level. And inside that level, there was a level on top of level. So this was one, and then there was this. So what I did was I mean, of course, I did not trade this because I already had a trade running. So I just moved my stop loss here above this pivot, and then price just came up, stopped me out, and then reversed. So I did not trade, and I'm not going to trade this because it just looks choppy. So I'm going to ignore NZD USD and AUD USD for now, and already we have so many trades in these major currency pairs which are running. So we can just focus on them. Then moving on to gold. So gold, I had a nice trade here, made some money, booked some profits, and then there's also this demand zone which I'm which barely tapped into my level. So I'm gonna place this order just like this. This is how I'm gonna place this order, and then hope price taps into this level and then comes higher and we make some money. So, but again, this is risky because price is reacting off this supply zone here. And if this continues, if this supply zone is strong and then holds, this could be a big downtrend into any of these demand zones. But for now, until this year, until the end of this year, I'm not looking to short gold. I'm bullish on gold because there is something called year-end rally where we have Christmas and all these festivals coming or whatever it is. We have New Year's. So this period, this seasonal period is pretty strong for gold. So you could see lot of demand for gold. So that's the reason I'm still bullish on gold. And then maybe next year we can see the seasonal patterns and then look to short. So yeah, this is the trade. I'm not gonna dive deep into this. I'm not going to explain the setup because I've been speaking about this setup for quite some time. So nice demand zone here. So let's just look at silver, what's happening in silver. Again, very similar. We had a nice rally out into this supply zone. And then, yeah, silver is still not in that demand zone. So anybody who's not confident about gold, you can take this trade and then maybe you can keep your stop loss below this pivot. So this is something you can do, something like this, just to be safe. And then you can target maybe anything more than 1:2, or you can wait for the price to come into this level and you can look for an entry on the lower time frame. So these are the things you can do. So which is completely up to you guys. So, yeah. So these were the trades for me in majors and commodities. If I have to look at uh, crude oil reacted beautifully off this demand zone, which again I explained why I did not take this trade and will not take this trade. So for me, I'm pretty clear. This is a nice demand zone. So if you were trading challenges or something like that, you could have definitely gone taken this trade. I did not take this trade, but it is what it is. I'm looking for this lower demand zone. So anybody who took this trade, you can move your stop loss to break even and then just see where price heads to. So yeah, I'm not gonna explain this in detail, but so looking at okay, index. I have trades in US 500 and I have trades in US 100, which is the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500. So first off, I had this beautiful trade. Price tapped into this demand zone, nice rally out, more than 1:1, and then price started tumbling down, and then I was stopped out break even. Then I had to re-enter. I know that price is gonna be bullish because if you look at the seasonals, and then there is something called year-end rally. If you look at all these things, it's a given. I have a clear bias in the index, and I'm trading these indices. Again, there is no point talking about the trend. You guys know that the this asset is a bullish asset. So I was looking to go long. I was looking to position myself, and this is what I did. On the 4 hour time frame, we had this demand zone. I simply went long here. Now price is in profits, and yeah, almost 1:1. Almost gave 1:1, but yeah, this is a very simple trade. Simple demand zone. So if you guys would have done something like this, so this is a drop base rally. So if you would have done something like this, you would have easily captured 1:3. So this is the importance of, again, you have pros and cons about refining zones. So what happens sometimes is, so let me, I don't know if I can find that example. There was a trade which I took. I was stopped out. Maybe look at this zone here. So if you would have refined this area, you would have been stopped out, right? So again, even if you would have refined or not refined, you would have been stopped out here. And then again, over refinement leads to trades getting stopped out, you getting stopped out. So again, guys, it's a trade-off between staying safe and going aggressive. So for me, I'm a bit conservative. I want to be safe. So that's the reason I took that entire zone, and then I was stopped out break even, and I've re-engaged again. So let's see how this works out. And same with US 100. So look at US 100 here. Look at US 100. Anybody who had taken this demand zone on the 4 hour time frame should have been stopped out. Should have definitely been stopped out. So what I did was very simple. I booked a very small loss here, maybe $50 or something like that. So what I did here was simple. So I defined the area, but then I also kept my stop loss below this pivot. So I just had to be safe. Price rallied out and then came back into the level, stopped me out for just a small loss. And then I did not re-engage here because there was no opportunity to re-engage. There was this low, but again, you would have been stopped out. So I did not re-engage in US 100, but US 500 was looking better. So this is the trade I have taken. So these are the two trades for me when it comes to index. So US 30 also looks really good. There is this demand zone. US 30 worked out very well. If anybody traded US 30 instead of US 100 or US 500, this would have been an amazing trade. So price, there was this rally base rally out, nice demand zone on the daily time frame, tapped into this demand zone, gave a nice rally out. I see traders, some traders made a lot of money trading this as well. And then price dropped into this demand zone, and then again you can re-engage here. So, but I'm in this US 500 trade, so I'm not gonna re-engage in any other trade. So this is the trade for me. So let me go to my alerts. Let me see if I have any. Okay. So EuroCAD, what do I have? Okay. So EuroCAD, again, it's a cross currency, and then I have this demand zone here in Euro Canadian dollar. So you can make use of this demand zone. You can trade this demand zone if and when price comes into this level. It's quite far. So let me just remove this. AUD JPY, there is nothing. So let me just remove this. Then GBP CAD again. There was this trade which I took. I was stopped out, break even. So I'm just going to remove this. GBP USD, we spoke about it. USD JPY, there's nothing. I'm going to remove this as well. GBP AUD. Again, on GBP AUD, the weekly demand zone sits right here. So you guys can take this trade as well. I'll be taking this trade. So for now, it's Euro, Euro USD, GBP USD. Then we have US dollar Swiss franc, which is already in my triggered trades. Then there is USD CAD. I have my order set at this level. Then there is silver and gold. Again, this weekly candle is pretty scary, guys. This looking at the supply zone, it is pretty scary. You just add this, just make sure you manage risk. Just because gold has rallied for past couple of months doesn't mean it's going to do the same. So look what you see, understand what you see, and then position yourself accordingly. So there's no FOMO here. Then yeah, then there are these two trades. Let me just add them. All right, guys, this is how my watch list looks like. These are the trades I'm looking at. So that's all, guys, from my side. Have a nice trading week ahead. I'll see you all. Bye bye.